Hey everybody, Derek here. I'm here to bring you another video for Z Nation. And in today's video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video on the pros and cons of Z Nation killing off Charles Garnett. I did one at the very first episode whenever they killed off Hammond, and I kind of feel that it's appropriate to do the same thing here in this video. I decided to wait a few days, that way if you didn't catch the episode on Friday, you could watch it, because I don't like spoiling people, but I feel like it's been a significant amount of time that I can do the video and, without spoiling too many people. So that's why I'm doing it now. And I'm basically just going to discuss, the different feelings that I had about it that maybe other people did as well, and some good things that it may do for the show and some not so good things that they're going to do for the show. And I'm also taking this into consideration now that Z Nation has been renewed for a second season, what that might mean in regards to that as well. So I'm going to be doing all of that and basically just discussing how Garnett's death impacted the show. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the pros. So, not necessarily maybe good reasons for killing Garnett off, but more of what can it do for the show that may spin it into more of a positive light. And one of those is it definitely opens up the opportunity to develop other characters. Garnett was definitely featured a lot more than other characters. Cassandra really hasn't had too much of a role since Philly Feast in the episode with all the cannibals. So she really hasn't been as featured. And I feel like, killing off Garnett could definitely give more time for a character like her if they want to do something with the character. As well as it can also bring other characters and their strengths into the forefront. Warren, definitely has leadership qualities. We see her as somebody, she's like the second in command to Garnett, They definitely had a very close relationship. I think they were both in the National Guard, if I'm not mistaken. But, you definitely want to see Warren develop a little more. And I think that, without Garnett being the leader, it kind of forces Warren to step up and make the decisions for the group now. And we're definitely going to see how she can handle that. And I think that she's definitely a great character. She's definitely got a lot of, great qualities about her that make her tough. She has the balance of being tough, funny. She has the leadership role abilities. And I'm definitely interested to see what they're going to do with her. I think they definitely have I think they definitely have a good opportunity to develop her here. As well as I also think that they can develop Murphy a little bit. Murphy throughout the first 6 episodes has kind of been, a little bit of standoffish, You like him, but on the other hand, you're also thinking this guy's a complete jerk. He's got people taking him to California to potentially, help out the world, and he's just being a selfish, son of a gun, in many ways. I mean, that's part of the character, and that's part of why we like Murphy. But I definitely think that now, knowing that Garnett gave his life for Murphy, it might prompt Murphy to break out of this jerk mode and become more of a, maybe not necessarily hopeful, but we may see him become more appreciative of the group while still maintaining a little bit of his, jerk ways. I mean, I'm not saying get rid of that, but what I am saying is maybe we see more of Murphy that makes him into a better character. We started to see that near the end of the 6th episode, when he confronted Jacob. I thought that was definitely very great. But, I kind of want to see that develop a little more. And I think that now, knowing that Garnett gave his life for Murphy, it might prompt Murphy to become more of a, optimistic character, or at least somebody who's going to be a lot nicer to the group members, and definitely breaking out of this ignorant, shell that he kind of has on him right now. So I'm definitely interested to see that, and I really hope that they do that because of Garnett's death and not just leave Murphy as he was before, because it just wouldn't fit with the tone of the show. If somebody sacrifices their life for you, you're definitely going to be appreciative of that in some ways, unless you're totally just heartless. But I think that there's definitely a lot to Murphy, and I hope that they develop that as well. The other thing that I kind of felt is it again emphasizes just how unpredictable Z Nation is. You know, I mean, many of us who watch Z Nation probably watch Walking Dead as well. Maybe some of you don't. I mean, it's up, everybody to each their own. But, one of the things that I emphasize about Walking Dead is you really watch it and even if you haven't read the comics, that there are just certain characters that they're never going to kill off, or if they do, it's going to be very far down in the future. You're never going to see Rick get killed off. You're never going to see Daryl get killed off. Carl's pretty much safe. Michonne, again, you start counting off these characters like this, and, it just starts to get down to, oh, well, they're going to probably have to kill so-and-so and so-and-so, and then it's just I'm not going to call it fun, because it's not fun to see characters die, but, it's definitely something that intrigues you. You know that characters are going to die, and it's just something that, you look around the corner for as you watch The Walking Dead, and for Z Nation as well, because a zombie apocalypse is definitely a very scary, risky world, and characters have to die to demonstrate that. If they don't, the show gets dull. And knowing that Z Nation has again emphasized that they're going to kill a character off if it pushes the story forward, no matter who that character is. That makes it a little more exciting to watch, because you're going to sit there and you're going to be on the edge of your seat for pretty much the entire episode, wondering what's going to happen. And knowing that they killed Garnett off, who was definitely the lead character, definitely shakes things up, and it definitely makes you want to watch the show a little more, maybe, for some of us, because we want to see how that changes, and we also want to see, what are they going to do with these characters next, because it's not even just killing characters off, it's the way that they're going to change the storyline or change the characters that makes you interested in watching it, because if a show's unpredictable, you want to know what's going to happen next. If a show keeps falling into a similar pattern, you're just going to get tired of it after a while. And knowing that they are keeping it unpredictable is definitely going to potentially draw more viewers in. It may. Z Nation has maintained a very steady audience between like 1.5 and 1.6 million viewers. I think one of the episodes had 1.26. But aside from that, it's maintained a very steady audience. And perhaps that's because they like the unpredictability, and they also like the way that, the writers write the episodes and write the storyline. So knowing that you have an unpredictable show is definitely going to benefit Z Nation, and it's definitely going to help it set itself apart from Walking Dead, which is definitely something that they're trying to do. They don't want to be Walking Dead reincarnate. They want to be Z Nation. They want to be known for their own name. And doing things like this definitely helps draw attention to it. And it definitely makes me realize the different things to like about Walking Dead, but the other things that I do like better about Z Nation. There's definitely things about both series that I like, and some of them better than others depending on what it is. And I'm going to do a video on that at the end of the first season of Z Nation, because I kind of want to get a little more before I actually make an accurate prediction. At this point, I'm going to move into the cons, because there were a couple of cons that I definitely look at with killing Garnett. One of those is that they probably cut out too many storylines that could have been interesting for the viewers to watch. You saw that Garnett and Warren were forming a relationship. And, I understand that we have, Mac and Addie in a relationship right now. They're hinting that maybe 10,000 and Cassandra might form something, but they really don't focus on the progression of Mac and Addie's relationship, in my opinion. It's more of just like, it's there, it's something great, it's something that gives them hope, it's funny to watch these two, but it's not like they're forming into a stronger couple or anything like that. They already are strong. And you kind of want to see how other things might develop. It's kind of like Glenn and Maggie on Walking Dead. They didn't just all of a sudden fall in love. They showed the progression of those two falling in love. And I think that it would have been interesting to see Garnett and Warren develop those feelings in a zombie apocalypse, because love is not an easy thing to hold in the zombie apocalypse. I mean, we just saw that, You know, just like that, I mean, I'm not going to say just like that they fall in love, but I think they finally bring their feelings out to each other, and just like that, Garnett's dead. So it's definitely hard to maintain that relationship, but, you also need to keep things interesting. I understand that the mission is the basic core of the Z Nation storyline, but you need things along the way to keep it interesting. You can't just be like mission, 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 mission. You need to be like, okay, we have the mission, but we also have Mac and Addie, we have Doc being funny, we have cannibals, we have Warren and Garnett's relationship forming. We have things that are going on that are keeping it interesting in the moment. Because you need that. You need in the moment entertainment, and you need things to look forward to. And Garnett and Warren were definitely in the moment, very exciting to watch. And by killing them off, you're potentially taking away good storylines that they could have developed for the rest of the season. That you definitely could have seen these two form a little bit. It definitely would have made things interesting. And for all we know, maybe they might have killed Garnett off later, and maybe Warren's pregnant with his kid, and that might be something that they could have explored. Not saying they have to, but you see how things are forming, and things that they have that they can carry into later episodes and later seasons that they just cut off now that Garnett's dead. So I feel like they definitely robbed the audience of seeing that relationship bloom, and I think that might be devastating to the storyline. It might not, but we're just going to have to watch in the next few weeks to see if they can recover from that, and if they have other storylines that they can put in place of that. And again, another thing that I note is that, maybe it wasn't the right time to kill Garnett off. That's another con I have. I think that Z Nation's first season is going to be 13 episodes, so we're about at the halfway mark. And I understand that you sometimes want to do things at the halfway mark to keep the other half exciting. Walking Dead always does 8-episode arcs. And just this is something that TV does in general. I mean, usually around the midpoint, something interesting happens on a lot of different shows. So it's not just something that's shared by only a few shows. But I just don't think that it may have been the right time to kill off the main character, potentially your leader, somebody that you might see as the leader of the group, the figurehead of the show, potentially kill him off right then and there so quickly. I mean, I think that it might have worked better if they would have waited till the finale and then killed him, because then you might have had a little more, it might have had a little more impact on us as an audience to see Warren and Garnett's relationship develop and then kill him off, and then it may have been more devastating for the audience. I'm not even saying that they had to kill a character off at that time either. I mean, that was just something that they chose to do. And I haven't found any articles or anything explaining why they did it. There's not really too much out there on Z Nation. I mean, it is what it is, but I would kind of like to know, like, what are the writers thinking? And I guess it's more of we need to watch and figure out what they had in mind. But I'm definitely, at this point, feeling like they may have killed Garnett off too early, or not at a right time, and it may make the rest of the season very unentertaining. Because really, how are you going to reintroduce certain plot lines in the middle of a season? Or you have to basically restructure, and that's where I lead into my next point, is sometimes a formula works very well for a show. And I feel like destroying a formula in the middle of a season can be detrimental to the plot line. The way that the group was formed was working very well, in my opinion. Everybody brought something to the table. I love Garnett and his leadership abilities. I think he was a very good leader. He definitely brought a lot of strength and entertainment to the show, and his decisions were definitely, good for the group. You had Warren, who definitely, it was nice to see the relationship and the banter between those two. Mac and Addie just being the loving teenage relationship is nice. Doc being hilarious comic relief is awesome. Cassandra, I definitely hope they bring her more to the forefront and give her more stories, because really she hasn't really been that much involved since the cannibal storyline. Like, that was her thing. But they have the ability to do something there with her, and I hope that they do. And 10,000 is just the man of few words that kills zombies, and that's an edge that we like to him. And I feel like if you change the dynamics up too much, it ruins the quality of the show. Like, could you imagine 10,000 now being like a leader? I just don't think that it would work, and I'm not saying that, they should, but I feel like now they have to compensate for Garnett's absence, and if they don't introduce a new character or a couple new characters, you have to change things up, I think. And I don't think that it's a good idea to necessarily change the dynamic midway through. I think every character being the way they were definitely added to the storyline. Yes, you want to develop your characters, but you kind of want to do it over time. You don't want people on The Walking Dead to go to sleep one night being humane and wake up the next day and they're totally inhumane. You want to see a progression of these characters. And maybe 10,000 will become more involved with things. Maybe he will become more open to the group, not just killing zombies. You may see a lot of everything coming together, but you want to see it develop overnight. You don't want to see that develop overnight. Same thing with Mac and Addie. Perhaps they may have to be more of a leader, or maybe they have to change the relationship up a little more. And again, that could be detrimental to the way that the show works. You do want to see progression of characters, but you don't want to necessarily see it all happen all at once, in my opinion. And killing Garnett has forced their hand, and basically people now have to change, or they have to do something with the storyline to make these characters more involved to cover Garnett's absence, in my opinion, which may not be a good thing. I think they had a good formula. I think that they could have worked it out for the rest of the season, then killed Garnett off, and then maybe next season, you rework things out. You have a new leader. You see how they develop along the way. Maybe then have Warren become more of the leader. And I think that might have been better for the story, in my opinion, rather than killing Garnett off now, and now you have the middle of a season where you now have to progress more of these characters, and I just don't know how it's going to work. Again, I might be wrong, and I think that they do know what they're doing. I don't think they just woke up one day and thought we're going to kill Garnett off. I think they have an idea in mind. The fact that they have renewed the show for a second season shows that they have an idea of where they want the story to go. And really, we're just going to have to watch it to find out. I think that they definitely have a good idea, and I think they definitely have the ability to keep the audience entertained. So I'm going to keep watching it, even though it was sad to see Garnett go. And I'm just going to hope that maybe they do have a good idea at the end, and we're going to see something absolutely great even without Garnett. We'll see what happens. But those are my thoughts, guys. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments. Feel free to subscribe. I have more Z Nation media coming out. I have more ideas for videos. I have a lot of things coming out for Walking Dead as well. So if you're a fan of Walking Dead, feel free to follow along with my series there. And if you guys have any video topics that you would like me to do, don't be afraid to suggest them. I am always open to taking any suggestion. I want to know what you guys want to hear, so don't be afraid to let me know. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and thank you again.